Good afternoon, everyone. Can everyone hear me? If yes, could you please type a hi? Great, thank you. All right, I can see more and more participants are getting into today's workshop. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Workshop 2. I'm your MC, Selena. It's great to see you all again very soon. So last Friday, we introduced various open data sources you could use. Today, we're shifting our focus on data storytelling and also pitching skills. These skills are absolutely crucial as you need to present effectively to a panel of judges within a strict time limit on final pitch day. We will begin in just a few moments, as we allow more participants to join. So let me guide you today's workshop first. There will be two sections today. The first section will be about data storytellings for hackathon success, and the second section will be about don't pitch like a founder, pitch like a winner. Throughout the workshop, please feel free to submit your questions at any time using the chat box. We will address them in our dedicated Q&A section. For the first section, we are pleased to have Ms. Elaine Wang, Founding Fellow of Data and AI Literacy Association. So Elaine, would you please share your PowerPoint with us? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Selena. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can see it now. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, well, thank you for that intro. Good afternoon to everyone who is on this webinar. I am really pleased with the opportunity to deliver this webinar on data storytelling for your hackathon preparation. Again, I'm speaking in the capacity of my association, the Data and AI Literacy Association, where I'm a founding fellow. We've been a supporting organization for GS1, the IoT Data Hackathon, since its inception 3 years ago. So we've been a very consistent and staunch supporter for GS1's great initiative and this data hackathon, and thank you for participating. By way of a brief intro, my background is actually in human resources for 30 odd years. I've always been a human resources person. So how did I get myself into data and AI literacy? It's really through my last employment with Hang Seng Bank, where I helped my CEO on a digitalization and data culture change program in the bank. And the idea was, we really need to empower all our staff across different domains to be data users, to understand the value of data. And so we went on this change journey that we call data literacy empowerment in the bank. And this goes back 5 years ago. And through that journey, I personally developed a lot through data literacy, data mindset, and really see the potential and the power of it from a human resources perspective for workforce of the future. So I'm now teaching in two universities on both HR and also data literacy. So that's a bit of my kind of intro and why I'm here today. I guess you all have been working on your project and problem statement, and no doubt have been very busy preparing for your submission next month. So we have about, I guess you all have about three weeks and a bit to prepare for your submission. And usually, I think we have a tendency to think about the presentation or the submission and what we're going to put to the judges a bit, later on when we have our solution and proposal together. I hope today's session will help you think a bit earlier on about the story that you are going to tell. Think of it not just as a presentation of materials of your proposal and solution, but rather think about your presentation as a story, how you're going to use data to tell your story effectively. And so the agenda today for the next 40 minutes or so we'll first talk about why data storytelling matters. Then, first why, then what, what is a data story? What is it not? And then we'll also talk about the importance of knowing your audience, the audience focus to help frame your story. And then we'll go into three key elements of your data story and go into more depth. So that's briefly the agenda. So the first one about why data storytelling matters. There are three elements to it. One is, as research have shown, and our own personal experience will also say, we remember stories better than we remember a load of facts or data. So how you put your data into a story that will help the judges, that will make an impression on your judges. They will remember your proposal in the form of, a coherent story and relatable story. So how you make it memorable is part of the purpose of data storytelling. And the other aspect of it is about engaging the audience, engaging the panel of judges. As people say, connect before content. So how do you actually make the connection with the audience? And then you put your content to it, to the audience so that they will be more invested in your message. And also that engagement and connection hopefully triggers an emotional bond with your audience. And the third aspect to it is about persuasiveness. I think with the use of data, you will build trust and it makes your proposal credible and persuasive because your objective is not just to inform the panel of judges on your proposal, but you actually want to inspire actions, inspire change. You want to cause your audience to think differently and invest in your case and explore, your proposal further. So the whole data storytelling, the purpose of it, whilst it is a hackathon of data and technology, it is not just about presenting your data and analytics, but it is very much about creating an experience for your audience, an experience that they will remember, an experience that they will relate to it, and also inspire them in change actions. So this slide again illustrate the difference between a presenting data without a sufficient strong storyline. Usually people get overwhelmed with data, and if the storyline is not coming out strongly, they may be bored. On the flip side, if you have story without uh, meaty data or data and insights, then it would not be as impactful. You are making assertions, you are telling, certain narratives, but you really need the data to strengthen your arguments. So the combination of story and data will produce the kind of result and effect on your audience that engage them. Nancy Duarte, not sure if you all have come across her work. She is certainly a guru in data storytelling. And her quote, I think it's useful to describe the essence of data story. Data will tell us what has happened. We always look back, in order to find the data points and trends and so on. But stories tell us what it means. So stories give meaning to your data. And that's the essence of data storytelling. This next slide is a metaphor. Again, trying to make the point about the distinction between a data story and a story with some data in it. So the metaphor is a sandwich versus a pizza slice. In the sandwich analogy, so data, visuals, and narratives is like, what makes up the sandwich. It is integrated. The story is integrated with data, visual, and narratives on the left side. Whereas the pizza slice is more, you have narratives, you have what you want to tell the audience, and you put in your data and visuals sprinkle on top. So it's kind of to try and make the distinction between how you use the data as the backbone of your narrative. So you have a strong data story, and then you also have visuals to get across your message simply and powerfully. Whereas the pizza is more, putting the three things together, but it's not as integrated. Yeah. So that's just the metaphor to make the point about how you think about your storytelling on the left side, integrated, as opposed to you come up with the solution to the problem statement and put some data into it. So the next, I want to focus on the empathy and audience point for a moment before we go into the data storytelling and the three key elements. So why empathy and audience focus? I'd like to pick on a piece of research from a neuroscientist, Antonio Damasio, just to remind us about the importance of emotions. Sometimes we think of emotions and the rational side as two things, your feeling and your thinking is kind of like the opposite. But it's actually based on Antonio and other neuroscientists' research. When we make decision, it actually integrates the logic, the thinking, the thought process together with your emotions and feelings. So the two actually goes together, and especially in the environment that we work in or the problem statement that you are working with, it it's complex. The context could be quite what's the word, adaptive. The judges will have to make a call around what you propose in a complex, uncertain kind of conditions, and how you propose your solution. If you can bring together both evoking emotions as well as the logical side. Putting the two together will support the judges, decision making with the two going together. I think we see it all the time, in our personal lives. We go shopping with a clear idea of what it is that we need to buy. It's all logical, but we often come home with something different, not what we thought we were going to buy, because something else appeals to our emotions. And so, we adapt our choice and come home with something not what we originally intend to shop for. So just remember when you are presenting to the panel of judges, whether it is in your slide submission or if you have the chance later on to actually present your solution to the judging panel. Think about not just the rational side of your solution backed up by data and logical, but think about how you evoke emotions in the judging panel in order to get their stronger buy-in to your proposal. And so know your audience. I think also there is another level to it apart from what I spoke of. The judging panel is clearly your audience for your submission, but also the problem statement that you are working on now. Think of who is the target audience for your solution. It may be the community, it may be a segment of the community. However, you're going to tell your story, be clear about the audience that you are pitching this to. Your solution is serving a particular community, segment of community, particular audience, particular business. So two levels of it. The judging panel is one, but also your problem statement, the audience for your solution. So the few points there. One is how you tailor your message to the judging panel. And you may have panel members who are from retail industry, from technology, from telecommunications. If you can relate your story to your audience, and personalize some of your messages, makes it more relatable and create a stronger impact. So the other point is also think about where your audience are coming from, whether they have certain preconceived ideas or certain views, not necessarily bias, but they may be concerned about cost, they may be concerned about viability, practicalities. So make sure that when you frame your story and your arguments, think about where your audience are potentially coming from in order for you to craft a compelling story, and also, your call to action, how you want them to act differently or think differently about what you are proposing and invest in your solution. This is borrowed from communications experts who really emphasize, again, the emotions, the feelings aspect of it. And I've adapted it for the context here about what you need to do to appeal and compel the judging panel. So I think if we all relate it to our personal experience, I've been in many leadership town halls in my work, and I know employees, leaders will have a lot of messages that they try to impart in their communication meetings or leadership forums. But time and time again, employees, audience, they won't remember a lot of details about those messages. But one thing that will really stick with the audience is how we make them feel. Did we make them feel delighted? Did we make them feel impressed? Or, we are imparting a lot of facts that they are not likely to remember much after the event. So, how you tell your story that build the trust, convey value, and trigger actions, and that emotions will influence the judgment of your, judging panel or the audience that you are delivering your message to, and drive, their decisions, their votes. So always remember how you want to make your audience feel about your solution, and then frame your story, uh, tell the story so that it creates the kind of feelings and emotions that you have intended for, not just get uh, wholly focused on the technicalities, the data, the solution design, and so on, but think about the balance of the rationality and the emotions that I've spoken of for. So coming to the three key elements of the data story, the data, the visuals, and the narratives, and I will go into each of them in the slides that follow. So the use of data, no doubt you all have been gathering a lot of information, doing your analytics, and trying to, identify meaningful trends or insights from your data to then, develop your solution and narratives, and also the whole innovation aspect of it. How does the data story reframe the data analytics, perhaps reframe your problem and create, innovative ideas. So you all would have been, working on your data as part of the hackathon process. The thing that I wanted to share and highlight is missing data. I have personally felt the power of not just data that exists or data that you have. And I just want to relate this example with you. So late last year, we had our national games of PRC, and Hong Kong athletes actually did very well. In fact, they had some recognition and celebrations last week. And we did really well in that, 9 gold, 2 silver, and 8 bronze medals in the national games. And this was all over the news headline. This is the data that everyone looked at. These were the highlights. Now, in another context, I heard the head of Sports Institutes in Hong Kong in an interview, and he talked about this piece of data, which was a bit missing in the news report because we were focused on the medalists. Yeah. But what I find really powerful is when this Sports Institute head talked about actually amongst all the athletes from Hong Kong competing in the games, there are 8 athletes who ranked fourth, and there are 40 athletes that ranked fifth to the eighth. Now, this piece of data is not necessarily known to a lot of people. It's a bit missing, but I'm just using this as an example. If you are putting up a proposal for funding, how do we use data science to improve athletes' performance? You can certainly talk about the medalists, how many medals we won, and therefore, there is a case to further invest to support our athletes. But if you turn your story to more the missing data, we have 48 athletes who are in the race who could be our future medalists in future games. Yeah. And I think that potential, that piece of missing data or data not necessarily heavily, highlighted, actually makes an even more powerful story to substantiate your case for why we need to invest in the 48 athletes who have potential in future to become the medalists for Hong Kong. So just an example, but I hope it illustrates the point about even if you don't have full set of data, even if some data is missing, sometimes the missing data can tell a no less powerful story. So keep that in mind in your data story. And certainly a common pitfall is data overflow. So again, I just want to call out, early on, because I know you all have been working very hard to gather your information, analyzing your data, and so on. I think the importance is about how you curate your data. It's often very hard, when you've done all the work, you've produced charts, you have a lot of data to back up your solutions. If you were to drop off some of your data later on, and really focus on the highly relevant data, it's never easy to part with things that you have already developed and built up. So the point of this webinar a bit earlier on, before you actually get to, consolidate your slide deck and prepare for your submission, is to, again, think about your story. You don't want too much data that will overwhelm your audience. Also, it may diffuse your messages. It's a bit like the analogy of preparing for a debate. In debating, the trick is you don't put a lot of your arguments out there, but focus on your strongest argument, because the more you put out, the more you may give your audience to question, to challenge, to disagree, and so on. So again, think about what is the most relevant data for your story, and in your preparation, it's about curation. Cutting it out later on can be difficult, painful. You've done all the work, so it's always very hard to then, decide what you would drop. But if you think about your storyline early on, it may help you to manage that. And also, again, fewer data points, but stronger messages. You have a better chance to convince your audience or impress on them your story and your thematics. So the next piece, the second element of your data story is clearly the narratives. You've built up your data. This is the backbone of your narratives. And data story broadly consists of 3 parts. The first part is talking about the context, setting the scene, talking about your character. You know, if you have a clear target population for your solution or who has that pain point. So talk about the context, the setting, the pain points for your target population, or sometimes described as the tension or conflict. So this is the why. Then the second part is about the what. So that's your idea. What is it that you are proposing to address the pain points or the context for your solution? And then finally, the resolution. So it's getting to the how. So with the idea, how do you translate that into actionable change and actionable solution? So this slide describes in more detail the different steps to storytelling. And as mentioned previously, how do first you have to say why, the context for your problem statement, describe the background, the character, and the current situation, what is, and then you can go on to what can be, what you propose. And then the other piece, the why, which is again the tension. So what are the pain points to the target population? How do you deepen your understanding into the conflicts, the difficulties, or the challenges facing the character, and then the character themselves. Who are your target population? Who is the segment of audience that you will focus on in presenting your proposal. And then the what is the big idea. So based on your analytics, based on your innovation, the idea that you're going to put out, and then the how, which is more the execution of it, the practicality, the viability, the conditions that would take, to implement the idea. And then specifically, how do you propose to the judging panel about the actions to adopt? One suggestion also in framing your story, if you can distill your messages into what they say, a golden phrase, so a summary, that, a very succinct description of your project or your solution, it again helps the judging panel to remember your proposal and set yourself apart from other contestants. And by example of golden phrase, let me turn to the. So a couple of years ago, when I was involved with GS won the hackathon in the first year, I remember there was a project. I was coaching a couple of teams on this EV charging stations and optimization. So these are, again, just examples. If your golden phrase, you might consider some examples I put out there: smarter stations, seamless journeys, or you want to, talk about more the intelligence aspect of it, from congestion to intelligent flow. How do you manage the charging stations optimization? Or turning EV potential into performance. So again, these taglines can just be brief, but it may help you differentiate in a nutshell your solution, because various teams will be working on the same problem statement. So your your spin, your focus, your lens, into the problem statement, if you can think of a way to summarize this nutshell, golden phrase, again, it could just add further impact to differentiate your proposal from other teams. Yeah, so that's just a suggestion for you to consider. A third element about visuals. Again, you all will be familiar with the use of charts, and so this is just a few reminders about how you enhance your story with the right visuals. This is a quick guide to chart choices, and just again remind you all about the data that you have and what you are trying to demonstrate through your charts. Whether you are trying to compare values, like some of the charts at the top are more suited to it, or you are trying to show distribution of data, which are some of the charts that you might go for on the right side, or you're looking at how values relate to each other. So on the left side, a couple of chart types like bubble chart helps particularly bring out the values, the relations of values. And then along the bottom is how you can best, some of the chart choices that help you best illustrate composition of your data. So whether it is pie charts or whether it is some of the other chart types that are illustrated. So just a quick guide to help you think about what are the key things that you want to demonstrate through your data and choose the right charts for it. This one again brings out a bit about the formatting of your chart choices. So the three charts on my screen, they all have the same data set in it. But on the left side, again, they use different colors on the chart on the left. Actually, people will say in your data story presentation, when you use charts, stay away from too colorful charts, but sometimes, simpler, consistent, kind of format, better make an impact visually. The key is, as you see on the right-hand side, the line that's drawn on the charts. It's the same set of data, but depends on your message. You can draw that one line at the top, and it would convey immediately to the audience about an increase. And in this case, it's about sales revenue. Yeah. But and the bottom chart will just a simple trend line already conveys to your audience that certain products or certain departments, in this case the performance is going down. So really depends on how you depict your charts and your what you want to show. Simplicity can get across the message very effectively, not necessarily using a lot of colors or complicating, your message, but one simple line already tells your message. So I just want to use that as an example. So the best practices for visuals, think about appropriate chart types as we have spoken of previously. What are you trying to demonstrate through your data? And then keep it simple. And use perhaps more consistent colors and font types than to make it too busy or too complicated with various colors and so on. And then the labeling is important, how you provide quick context and your message on the charts can be stated simply but clearly. And again, if you have the benefit of time, when you have some of your visuals tested with people not related to your project, could be a good practice because you get, a fresh view into what you are trying to present and see if your messages are landing. So this last slide, in terms of wrapping up the data story, simplify to amplify. Uh, again, if for those of you that are presenting to the judging panel, the time to present is limited, 8 minutes with 4 minutes of Q&A. So, from prior experience, uh, when you do not time it appropriately, when your messages, when you put too much information together, again, trying to simplify in your presentation is difficult because you've already done all the work. So letting go of some of that work is never easy. But then what happens is when time's up, you kind of have to cut off your presentation, and the really important point may not be well captured, and so you may not be doing full justice to all the work that you have done. And if you are preparing for your submission middle of February, again, the important thing is you do not put out too much information and let the judging panel, it's kind of like a buffet, let them pick and choose from all your materials. Again, this would not get across your story as tightly and compellingly. So think about fewer material, less is more. Simplify to amplify is the message I want to leave you with. So the key takeaway from the last uh, you know bit of time, I hope I have gotten across to you the importance of data storytelling. Why is it important to make it memorable? People remember stories better than they remember facts, that you better engage the audience and inspire them or persuade them with your proposal. And then if you can have an integrated data and story together, it is the most powerful. And particularly the three key elements of data, narratives, and visuals that are well integrated in your story. And beware of, it is a data story, not a story with some data thrown in. Um, Talked about the importance of knowing your audience, both audience for your solution as well as audience in the judging panel. And then the whole data storytelling steps from the why, the what, and the how, uh, the visual, the chart choices, and finally, avoid data overload or information overload, simplify to amplify. So thank you all for joining this webinar. I hope you take away something useful, and again, early enough as you prepare your materials and prepare for either your submission or later on for your panel presentation for some of you. Okay, I'll hand over to Selena. On this slide, I have my email address. So I welcome any of you if I can help you in your preparation. If you have questions that I may not have time for, feel free to send me your questions on email, or Selena. I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Especially thank you for sharing two important tips to our participants. One is be aware of the time management when you're going through the pitching progress. The second one is do not put too much information in your proposal. If you have any questions to Elaine, would you please type in the chat box? Okay, just saw one question. How would you start a data story compared to a story with data?
So going back to, I think, let me not bother with the slides. Again, the hackathon is about data and technology. So no doubt the starting point is how you collect data, and then how you use the data to derive insights, that help you either reframe the problem statement. Innovation often comes from your reframing of the problem statement or thinking more deeply about the target audience of your problem statement or the solution. So making sure, you use data, weave it into your story. The point is not, you have some preconceived ideas about a solution, and then you look for some data to support, your solution. I think that's the distinction that I want to make. If you start with data, get the insights from it, rethink your problem, rethink what your audience, your target population needs, and then you come up with your solution and your story. Yeah, I hope that makes it clear.
Yeah, thank you, Elaine. Yeah, we have to start with who you're talking with. And then I just saw another question from the floor. It says, when you say about storytelling, do you mean like a persona?
Yeah, very good. Thank you for that question. I think the persona can be helpful. Again, depends on the problem statement, but generally, uh, the business sponsors who put up a problem statement for you to work on, if you can personalize it, give it a persona, this solution for what, who is your target audience that you think would make the most compelling arguments about what you are offering, then, you would make a bigger difference and land, a stronger impression on the judging panel. So giving persona is good because if you come up with a solution, it's like very generically, anybody can use this, anybody can benefit from it. It's all very well, but if there is a persona to it, it would just help your judging panel to really relate to it, and again, land with a stronger impact.
Thank you, Elaine. As Elaine has another appointment right after, so I think for her section, we will end here. I've seen some questions also leaving in the chat box. We will also pass it to Elaine later on. Thank you, Elaine, again for sharing.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Elaine, and see you next time. Um,
Yep. See you.
Meanwhile, we'll begin with another section, which is the theme is Don't Pitch Like a Founder, Pitch Like a Winner. We're pleased to have Mr. Teddy Liu, founder and CEO of MentorsHub. So, Teddy, would you please share your PowerPoint with us?
Right, so can you hear me? Okay, let me share my PowerPoint first. So can you see the PowerPoint?
Yeah, we can see it now. Thank you.
Right, so may I know how many people are here so far? Just
It's around 50.
around 50, right? So, or you are, heading towards the hackathon, right? So today my sharing is on pitching. You see my title that, don't pitch like a founder, but pitch like a winner, right? So why is this so? Think about it. You're going to do a hackathon. You are competing against other teams. So you're not not competing for funds at this point of time. So people would like you to pitch for the competition itself, for the money or other things. So that's why I expect you to understand that this is the competition. So you really have to do something to actually outbid the others on a similar platform. Right. So my agenda today, what will be covered? Think about it. Okay, today we are going to pitch your own startup, but you're not going to tell people all about your startup. Just like a trailer. Okay, a trailer gives some kind of highlight and taste of what you're going to do. Make it short, make it clear. Just give the judges what they need to know and want to know. But having said so, sometimes, think about it, people may want to know more, but not all the judges will have the same kind of appetite. So in that case, think about it. If you can maneuver their appetite, right? Get them what they need initially, and let them ask for more if they really want it. That means they are on hook. In that case, you're probably on the right track. Make sure that they want more from you because they think that you are good, right? So think about how you make the trailer in your pitching, rather than give them a full picture of everything. I think simplicity, as Elaine has mentioned, right, is very important. So today our coverage will be on what the judges want to listen for. I should give you a very short structure, about a 3 to 5 minutes pitch, or maybe up to 8 minutes, as Elaine said, right? And then 4 minutes for Q&A. How you should handle the Q&A. And then we'll go into how you deliver and the slides, right? On this part, Elaine has covered a little bit. I can repeat or get a little more about the details. And then we'll have come to the Q&A for your own. And if you have any other question besides what I've talked about, you can ask me through the WhatsApp or the chat group. Let me try to start the chat group first so that I can see your input later on. Right, okay, I open the chat. Right, so remember, you are doing a hackathon pitching, okay? So this PowerPoint is for hackathon pitching only. It's not for startup funding raise or other purposes. Okay, so the first question is, what the judges actually want to know about your project? What do they care about it? So think about this question here. The pitch is not showing everything you did, right? It's providing the project matters and it works to them, to the business, to the target. So what you actually do doesn't really reflect in what it means, what they need. So it demands some kind of, attributes that you have to fulfill, just like creativity and innovation. How original your ideas, how you address the problem in a fresh way. Why fresh way? Think about it. So we have a lot of problems every day, and there's always some solution to every problem, isn't it? Seems to be. But which one's better? How can you actually do something differently? Make sure to address the problem is the way that the judge is looking for. On technical execution. After all, this is a hackathon on data, on technology, on AI. So how well built is your, say, applications, your app, your platform? How good you use technology efficiently without overcomplicating or complicating something, so that people understand that you are addressing on the major pain point or pain points. That depends. You must look into who are the user, what they actually need, right? How visible your solution to them as only user. How intuitive, how scalable beyond just your prototype. Overall, look into the impact and the vision. Does it really address the real world problem? Is it measurable? If not, how can you show your impact? So in that case, your preview, your trailer, had to give the judge that you have all these elements here. And lastly, back to square one, creativity and innovation. Can I ask you, if you can, reflect in your chat box, how do you see the difference between creativity and innovation? Is there any difference? It must be, right? There are two words. So any one of you can tell me the differences are? If you have, please type in the text box. Let me see if you see the whiteboard. Right. At this point of time, I don't see any answers so far. Think about it. Innovation. We will talk about innovation. Why? Creativity, we need it all the time. We can do anything with creative, right? Creative mindset, creative story, creative pictures, anything can be creative. But why is it called innovation? After all, exactly, well, not, okay. So poor job, you said creativity to think, generate new ideas. Yes, it is. So how is innovation implemented? Really? Okay, good. Justin, good, right? More practical. Innovation means to address a problem. Creativity doesn't need to address any problem. So innovation comes with a function to do something, a problem to solve. As I said, we have a lot of problems on here, right? And we have a lot of solutions as well. So how come we are so creative and innovative all the time? So think about the current work you are facing, the current issue that you are facing. Then what kind of problems there are there? There must be a lot of them. So how can you do it more innovative? So the judges will think about if you actually twist a little bit or some concept already there and make it more effectively address the problem. That is already innovation. You don't need to revamp the view totally, make sure that it's totally creative. It's a waste of time. Just think about existing problem. There may be already a lot of them, but not very easily or effectively solved. If that's the case, you are doing something differently in a fresh way, and then that is innovation. And you probably can get the judge both for you. Right? Let's be aware of it. The judges, who they are all business people, right? They see dozens of pitches. So why yours? Yours must be very memorable. And that explains why it wins rather than what you did, right? The judges don't care what you did per se. They just want to know why you and you are the winner. Make sure that your pitches actually get a winning pitch. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time doing another presentation. It's not good for you. So how do you do it? After all, think about what the judge needs. Dive into the question, what they actually need, right? Look into the hackathon rubrics. There are different kinds of rubrics there. I will show you later on. Think about what is being asked. If you answer the wrong questions, you get no mark at all. If you are getting the right questions and people are expecting the right answers, so in that case, you're probably on the line, aligned with the expectation, and somehow you are different. Your pitching is memorable, and that explains why you can win. Right? So the structure of a pitch is very simple. Probably you know it. You all know it very well. It must be some kind of hook. A hook, just like, something to hook on the mind of the judges, of all the audience. Make sure that they are paying attention to what you're going to say. So we start with a problem. Why problem? Of course, if there's no problem, why should I concern, right? There's no problem, why should I pay attention to? So always start with a problem or some story, as Elaine has said to you. With a problem or a storyline, in that case, you hooked the attention of, the judges. The solution is something that you provide. With those solution, why are you coming here, right? So solution must be there. And then probably you can do some kind of demo. Show people how you can solve the problem. Make sure that your solutions is actually working and addressing to the problem directly. Well, given there's a hackathon, we have most of the time 2 days to being given a challenge, right? And do something to prepare for it, and then get a presentation ready, do some prototyping, show to the judge what you did in the past 2 days, for example, and then show them the progress. Of course, it's a hackathon. It's not the whole journey of innovation and product launch, right? So in that case, the judges may, or sometimes they do, right, really concern how you progress along the way in the past, say, 2 days, right? And then what kind of impact, what a market, where is the market, what are the people that you are addressing? And then you come to the close of the whole pitching process. So these are the basic structure. It's simple. You should know it by heart, right? Of course. But sometimes additional marks will be given on actually how creative you are, how innovative you are. So that really does count a lot of difference. And of course, they need to understand your project abilities and more importantly, the user experience. I'll explain a little bit later on. And then finally, why now and why you? So these are the elements I'll explain one by one. Right? Hook and problem. The statement is, what real problem are you solving? And for whom? Think about this statement here, right? This question here. There are two major parts. What real problem? If the problem is not real, that means it's a waste of time, right? You're just creative without a focus, without a function, without a problem to be solved. So how do you get out a real problem from your life? You take a lot of, analysis, observations. You may take focus surveys, focus group, or other, discussion interviews, so that you can iron out actual problem, circumstancing or bordering certain kind of business or other issues for some people. So the people for whom? Actually those stakeholders around your problem. You understand who they are, why they are concerning about the problem, what they actually play a part into the problem, how they actually benefit from your solution so far, right? Without these hope and problem, what are you doing? You're just thinking about something, drawing a picture like Picasso for nobody but your own amusement. That's not the way to do it. But with a real problem, real target, and a real measurement, a good solution, a good launching process, pitching other people, coming together a prototype, and that is actually something to solve a real world problem. So I give some example here. You say we built a cool AI app that summarizes websites. Wow, this is really bad, right? So who cares you built an AI app? How cool, how to compare? What's for? So summarize websites for whom? What kind of website you summarize, right? So in that case, it's no direction to nobody at all. So in that case, if you open a sentence like this, we built an AI app that summarizes website. The judge will say, whoa, what are you doing, right? What's in for me? None of my business, right? I have a lot of my website, right? Do you actually, summarize my website? How can you do it? I don't think so. So in their mind, there's a lot of voices already, a lot of noises that block them to hear further voice from you. So in that case, it doesn't have, it doesn't really help them to hook their mind onto your pitching. So a better answer like this, right? Busy lawyer, right? These are the people you're addressing. Wasted 3 to 5 hours per week summarizing long case documents, and that's unpaid and delays decision. Think about it. You have a subject matter called the lawyers, right? And they're spending some quantifiable time in something. So these are the opening words that you address people. These are the audience I want to address. These are the problems they have in front of them. So study the other one. Small business owner in emerging market lose 20% of revenue to manual invoicing, right? So you see that small business owner, SMB, these are my target. And they're losing time, losing money. 20% is a big sum, right? In that case, you are very focused. So my hint for you is to start a short scenario, get some statistics or a question to ask. Give them some data to build urgency, to quantify the pain points. So these things make the first sentence more appealing, more hooked on to that, attention on the judges. Without attention, they will be slipping about 8 minutes time, and then you're just wasting your time doing a so-called presentation without nobody listen to you. On the other hand, on the solution, come on. We all know that you have done a lot to solve the problem, right? But it takes time to explain to people. So can you put into one single sentence? What did you actually build? The what thing is very important, right? In one single sentence. It's not simple. So I give you some examples here, right? You build a Chrome extension that turns any legal web page into 1 minute brief in one click. And that is a solution. 1 minute brief in one click. Or, there's an app that uses satellite data to alert farmers to draft risk in real time via SMS, right? So in that case, it's really very actually one single phrase to describe what you are actually doing and have done so far for your solution. So in that case, your solution must be in one single sentence to hook their mind. They will say, wow, really? You're so amazing. Show me more, right? If they think about that way, you are already into it. If they think, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, right? I don't see what you are doing, right? It just give me too much detail. So which one is more important? They may not know that. And that actually blurred your own presentation and nobody see the focus on it, right? So in that case, the key is focus on simplicity, the core functionality. Of course, we try to avoid jargon. Some people ask, right? Hey, come on, the judges, they should be familiar with all these dollar things. They are judges because they're experienced. Come on, they are still laymen, right? Technology changes, advances so fast. A lot of new words coming up. How can anybody be prepared to know anything before they come to you being the judges, right? No way. So sometimes, as a judge, they have to learn from you as well. If they don't know, you tell them, you hook them already, right? So the judges actually would like to see your functional MVP. If it really works, right, and not just a simple coding, actually you say, wow, you make a great thing. You blow my eyes. But the point is, one single sentence to tell what you have done. All right, regarding the how, the demo. Just tell them, okay, let me show you, right, the real thing. You can do it with the MVP, you show the real thing. That means you're no bullshit. You're not just screaming or describing a picture without an actual tool. With the demo, that means you have done something solid. It's not just an idea. It's already an innovation. Of course, it needs not to be perfect. And the better you are, the easier you get, the people understanding how you actually solve the problem you identified. So in that case, you just have a core user flow in few steps. Try not to use screenshot, right? They want a real thing. You focus on the wow magic moment. See that? Wow, it changed, right? See that? It points to the right point. See that? We solved the problem. See that? That's the solution, right? So that magical moment, it is see, wow, you really did it, right? Your app actually works, right? And it actually gives you the data we need for the decision making. Then you already get the point. So you just really highlight the magic underlying your technology, right? Say, for example, how about a local LLM know to lift the device of confidentiality? Why we highlight it? Confidentiality is a very important issue here. So you really highlight your technical actual achievement, right? So in that case, you make sure that you show them the thing that you've done it very good, very outstanding. And of course, you still have to validate your solutions here. So you show them how you tested it, right? A 10 real judgment. Average shipping time is 60%. So in that case, you show them people you validated your solution. Come on, you are giving them solution, right? Not another problem. If your innovation, so-called, is not improving, is not gaining more actual impact, why you're here. So if you've done something good, show them how good you are, how magical your innovation is, how you validate your achievement so far. So in case your MVP doesn't work, right? Do a recording. At least you can play the recording. Let them know that it's real. It's no bluff. It's no bullshit. Okay? Right, regarding progress and validation. So people understand that you have spent 2 days, right, before the pitching time, that you try to best to do anything. But still, they want to know how much you have done, what a challenge you have faced, how you solve the problem, and you have come to this stage so far. So in that case, you can show people in the past 24 hours, we built a working prototype, tested intent real judgment, and reduced the waiting time to 60%. So then the process, how you did it. Over the weekend, we prototype an app, integrated wearable data, and validated 5 mock patient scenarios, cutting the diagnosis time by 40%. You see all this data here, give them the actual immersive experience that, and they have gone through they've gone through, right? So in that case, you see, oh, you are really some big thing. You are really hacking, right? It's a hackathon. So you understand the problem. You go along the line, you build a prototype, you try to solve the problem, and you have to see your progress so far. So progress sometimes actually differentiate element, right? It's a differentiate element. Why? Because they really see that you are putting a lot of effort and you crack the problem, right? It's not fake. It's not vaporware. It's a really something different, something unique. It's not pre-built. So after all, it's a competition. On top of the solution, your team performance, your actual working together, how you actually face a challenge, how you deliver, all these add up to your marks, right? Judges, they are all people. They will see how good, how hard you work along the way to achieve to today, right? So reward your execution under constraint. Prove your execution. Prove your traction is more important. If there's no traction, that means there's no market, it's just still a dream. Right, we got an impact and market opportunity, right? What value or impact that you have achieved from your application, from your innovation. So some quick example here, for example, like if Adobe in a 20-year firm, right, can save 80 billion billable hours per month, right? So for some firm of 500, firms, right? So reduce the crop loss by 30%, saving 100,000 K annually. And then initial SAM, right, is the civil market is a mid-sized law firm in common law countries, over 50,000 potential users. Why are we doing that? We want to make sure that it's scalable. This is not just for a few of the users. It's not for the industry, for a bigger audience size. It's a ripple effect that you gear up the momentum and launch it, scale it up, right? So of course, be reasonable. Don't bluff. You need to prove your calculation. So back to the so-called SAM, TAM, SOM, I think you know it, right? But I just repeat once again, make sure that you understand. The TAM is the total addressable market or total available market. It's actually the global market share, the pie in the sky, the maximum you can do, achieve by your solution, right? The SAM is servable addressable market. It's a portion of the total addressable market. It's realistically your target market to serve, right? It's what you want to achieve from your starting point, your medium term, right? It's not the global. Of course, global can be a lot of competitors, but your servable addressable market is your total market that you want to serve, want to attain. So the servable obtainable market is a realistic, short-term gain, your traction. So realistically, if your SAM is good enough, that means your project had initial funding to put it along the way to grow up. So with that, your projection must be very, realistic, practical, and then go along the line with the SOM to the SAM. Of course, you can show people to the fund, the people that, wow, the market is so big, so the TM give the total, global market is a vision, long term. So the way to do it, TM is from top down, from global. But of course, your SOM, right? The servable market is bottom up, from the traction, from your experience, from the actual working out, right? And then see how much you can gain out of the existing market that you can interact with. Try to avoid a very arbitrary percentage on the TAM. It's too big for you, right? You start with the SAM better to build your SOM, or even bottom up from SOM one by one, build up to your SAM, right? This is the way to run it. Right. Besides the crux, the basic structure, we talk about creativity and innovation, right? So how original is your approach? That's the question to answer, right? So what does it mean? So an example gave you, right? We made a basic web app using standard API. So what's the problem here? Two words are really lethal. One is basic. Why is basic, right? If you are so basic, why you're here? Standard API. Right? Of course, standard is good, but standard means that you are not innovative enough, right? So in that case, you think about how to actually pull up your emphasis to make sure it's something novel, something new. So, good example, maybe combine the AR with climate data to let users see the future flood risk in their neighborhood with their phone camera. So in that, you try to future, okay, use something differently. Instead of traditional banking app, you use gamification. NFTs to reward user for financial literacy, boost engagement by 50% in tests. 50% in tests, right, already gives some kind of traction, proof, gamification, NFT, and much better word to say standard thing, right? In that case, I mean, the judges favor some novel innovation and integration with the orchestral solution. Of course, you still have off the shelf, right? But somehow you try to make your novelty, make sure that's something that you make of all the standard provision you have around you, right? Feasibility and user experience. That means, is it usable? Is it scalable? Why? Think about as a user. If you use it so clumsy, right? So much problem, right? A lot of bugs. What does it mean? It means no good. It means fail, all right? So some bad example here say, our apps have tons of features. But okay, I frankly tell you that the UI is clunky and clutch some time. Of course, you are frank, fair, honest, but that you know last. But say, for example, with a clean, intuitive interface, I'll help trackers sync seamlessly with wearable and scaleware and API for millions of users. User test on egg farmers. The app's offline mode ensure accessibility in low cognitive areas with plans for API extension. So in that case, you try to affect and try to scale up and then make sure that people's experience are taken care of. So that is very important. After all, we emphasize on ease of use. We've done ease of use. Who will use your app? Who will like your app? Nobody. Then it's bound to fail, right? So the judges will penalize poor UX, user experience, and any of these, failure signify incomplete thinking, right? So make sure that you try to make sure your MPV is actually working. Try to address how people think, how they feel, and how they actually use it. So sometimes people will not, remember what you tell them, right? People will remember what you make them feel. That's very important. So user experience is something always linger in the mind of the judges. If they feel good, no matter how simple a solution, they just like it. No matter how good the solution can be, but experience so bad, the noises in their mind will rip away all those benefits from your very complicated, but all maybe impactful app, right? You know, because people just don't have the mind to take more innovation part and the experience they're already doing their thinking process. Lastly, why? Why now? Why you? So why you, your team? Why this idea? You still have to address this problem here, right? So for example, now open source language model, two law student in our team, right? Knows the works. Now rising blockchain adoption, our team of expanding it. Why is it? So first of all, the time of urgency, now. We are on the edge of everything. We are innovative. We are unlike. So in that case, you give them people that you know something that I may not know, or even you just maybe I'm looking forward to you teaching me something new, right? I'm expecting you to speak more. Tell me more. So the timing is very important. Make sure that we are on the trend. And then why you? It's your team expertise, right? Show them who you are. Why you are here to lead the voice, lead the change, lead the innovation. It's you, your team, your expertise does come, right? So that can let people know that yes, it's me to make the change. Right. So integrating the you, the team, the new thing into your pitching. You don't only have a separate, section for why me, right? You have to integrate it naturally into your pitch so that you build the credibility along the line so that you don't need to, spend time, well, this is our team of four law students, two tech people. That page is a waste. But during the line you're talking about it, you're going to see it, show them that you're really somebody different. So we got to close, right? You still have to really, well, thank you. Have to take a question or show another demo, right? So that people will be open up. Okay, you are more than you have prepared, right? You are ready to take more. But regarding question, right? Question, think about it. Anybody can pitch. Pitching can be rehearsed. But Q&A is a time that actually show people you are the winner. You are different. Why? When handling questions, right? Let me ask you, is it just question and challenge, or is it chance to steal the deal? Think about it. It must be the latter, right? So the question time, we let it until the end of the day and then let what the judges ask you, challenge you, and try to answer for it. No, you have to prepare. In fact, the time for questioning and handling question is not at the time of question time. It's at the time during the pitch. You implant a lot of areas that let the judge get into think, I have a question to ask, right? For judges, we're sitting there. Well, why they are sitting there, right? You have to ask questions. Otherwise, they are wasting their time. People like say, well, what are you doing here, right? Just in the audience. You are judge. Come on, ask questions. So they are under pressure to ask you questions. Why don't you have them to come up with some good question you want to answer, right? So in that case, we make use of the question time to tell the judges that you are even better than they had thought about. So in that case, you plant a lot of questions into your pitching along the way that you should be understand that there's something that you have asked, right? And I'm going to tell you the solution if you ask correctly the question. So the tactics is make sure that brainstorm a lot of questions before the actual presentation, right? Put these questions into places along the pitch. Get somebody assigned among your team, right? To immediately get very fruitful answer, direct, simple, effective, impactful answer towards the question planted. You know that they will ask these questions, and you know that who from your team should be answering, right? And of course, you play through the scenario, rehearse, right? Get a very clear, crispy answer, 30 to 60 seconds. Don't waste much time. Why? Question time, only 4 minutes, but that differentiates a winner from a loser. After all, if they ask questions, means that they want to know more. The judges, right? And you give them the hint for some question. You plant them, ask questions you want them to ask. They are on your track already. You know that. That's very important. All right, so during the Q&A time, remember, don't rush with your answer. You listen first. And then we state the question, confirming of the question and confirming the positive side of your solution. Do you mean that they're asking our app on how do we save the 20% of something? Reinforce a positive statement of the question. Okay? So in that case, make sure that they are going to the hook of your solutions, going to your differentiating factors, right? So answer the question with structure, facts, logic, and proof. It must be, right? After all, why you need to answer the question? They want to challenge you. If you have nothing to say, nothing to prove, you are being defeated. But if you have fact, rephrase their asking, point to the way that you are doing your innovation, your impact to make. That means you are phrasing the question as if it is your presenting the point, right? You're presenting through their mouth. That is very impactful. So Q&A is the last chance, right? Don't debate. Don't defend. If you haven't done so, admit it. All right? After all, we all know that this is time bound. Only 2 days. Nobody is perfect. So adjust. Okay, that's great, right? So great question, right? We are trying to stress test that, but haven't finished yet. Maybe something really, very validly, honestly answering. So bridge unknowns wait for you, right? You know that there's something that haven't done yet, but our pilot shows that That means you have thought about it, but no time to finish all, right? On the other hand, despite the question is to ask a question, right? You can still ask some question to put them onto the spot, right? So make sure that they will be understanding your need, right? So how do you typically support a serious A scaling? So in that case, ask them to think about, well, I am doing it, right? So confirm you understand that I'm the one typically chosen for Series A, right? So in that case, it push the mindset say, oh yes, you asked me, you challenge me. That means you're confident, you are able, you know more than I do, right? So in that case, I give you an A, give you a pass, right? Give you a yes, a tick, right? That's very important. So a common pitfall for pitching, don't overload with tech detail. I mean, I think Elaine has said so, right? So ignore user needs, that's the level point. Nothing can be done without a user. Without user experience being taken, correctly, without user needs taken as a problem solving, statement, right? What are you doing? You're wasting the time of everybody, including yourself. Don't be unrealistic. People will challenge you. If you have no evidence, if you have no calculation, no data support, don't make unrealistic claim. Probably you may be hit, right? But still try to validate things, right? Make sure that time management is very important, right? You cannot, present all. That means you don't tell people what you want to tell. So in that case, people don't know what you're talking about. You have no point to give that attention point to. In that case, you're bound to fail. Lastly, don't just do it, test it. Okay? So with a bugging interface, that means a lot of pressures, a lot of user experience problem. In that case, that means you are not. The app doesn't actually work out, right? You're not solving a problem. You're just telling something about the direction you want to solve it, but nothing really, actually doing. Right? So getting prepared, as I said, there's a lot of rubrics that you can look into. These are some, hackathon rubrics. You can look into their focal point, their weight, and how you get prepared. So that depends. This time, I'm not so sure whether GSI have used any that post or other hackathon rubrics, right? Make sure that you understand what's being asked and answer the question directly, right? So these are the basic structure. So on the preparation, so somehow you need have to show time. You have to be on delivery, get on the stage, right? So the thing is, make sure that you have the slide. A good story can win or fail. But how does it make the difference here? Body, voice, we need eye contact. Everybody need eye contact. So that's why I asked you just wondered, are we doing on face-to-face or on Zoom, right? Or virtual? I don't like virtual presentation. Actually, that's the way engagement door, except for some minor Q&A for the chatbot. I really don't like it. I really like the eye contact. I want to see how I stand there, how I stand on, right? And then how I present myself. The judgment on my energy, on my competence, on my problem solving, on my presentation as a whole. So your laptop on the side, right? The voice must be, clear, slow enough, and somehow pause on the hook so that people say, oh yes, that's the point. Give them a little time to think about it. Let them have a resonance in their brain. The team, unless you're one person, right? There should be one main speaker one time. You may have more than one people speaking, but the point is make sure that one person speaks one time and a clear handover. Don't make it very clumsy. Oh, you said, oh, no, maybe, oh no. Come on, rehearse, right? And then slide rules, right? There are 3 rules here. 1 idea per slide, big fonts and clear visuals, and make sure that the slide supports you. Okay, don't play with animation. It just hurt rather than adding any value. Animation means that you are wasting time. So I purposely use animation here to demonstrate how you waste time. If I have put it together once and for all, you'll see all the ideas in front of you immediately, right? So clear, right? One slide rule, right? One idea per slide rule. Don't cloud with bullet points, right? The more you put into the slide, that means nobody is listening to your pitch. Nobody look at you. They just find it hard to read all those words in the PowerPoint. It's wasting off their energy, your golden time to present, right? One single big idea presentation. Fewer words, more picture, more chart, more other visual. is better than words. Screenshots, be big, be clear. Try not to use much text, particularly on demonstration, right? If your text is flow rather than a screenshot, it should look like this, it should look like that, a flow chart. Who cares your flow, right? Show me the new thing. Come on, show me the demo. If that's not MVP, at least show me a screenshot, right? Slide free, right? Rule free. The slides support you. Think about it. Who is presenting? It's you. It's you that presenting. Let's say that if someone can read your slide and skip listen to you, the slide is doing too much. And I added, you better shut up. Think about it. They can read. Everybody can read words, right? Particularly judges. So if the judge spend time reading your words, why you stand there? Rather, the possibly the PowerPoint, I will read it myself and give you marks right directly. So the better you present by yourself. The PowerPoint only to support you. When there are too much idea in one single page, right? You try to use very clear visual, big words to try to focus and use your mouth to elaborate, to explain what it means to anybody. So in that case, make sure that there's not very much clouded, thing into the screen, right? Otherwise, people don't look at you. They don't even forget how you look, right, in a day. Oh, which team is presenting? I don't know. That team name is that, right? The idea is that, but who is that guy presenting? I don't have seen his face, right? Total failure, interesting, right? Right, so common mistake, don't be greedy, right? One pain, one gain. One pain point, one point, that's enough there, right? So simple is easy, good is easy. So the more easy you are, that means getting nothing. Right, regarding presentation, you have to be rehearsed, right? Make sure that you finished some, say, 30 seconds beforehand. Why 30 seconds? 30 seconds means that you still have time to take a pause. Look at the eyes of the judges and see if they are nodding or they are frowned. If they're nodding, that means you already got a hook, right? You know that you confidently done anything perfectly and waiting for the Q&A and say, okay, I finished. Shall we have that Q&A section? All right? If you don't have the time to do that closing, that means you're rushing to the end. There must be a lot of things that you missed. That means you never prepare. You're not rehearsing very good, right? That's not good for you. Right? Handle Q&A once again. Listen, answer, check. Listen again. Answer again and not clear, right? Check again. Always go into this loop here. Never, not checking. After all, an answer to be effective means that the word that you said hits on the heart of the audience, the judges, right? If that word you said doesn't hit on the heart of the audience, the judges, that means you have to answer anything. It's not hitting their heart, right? Finally, rehearse. Reflect. Rehearse and reflect. Always reflecting. So think about yourself, right? When you rehearse, ask yourself, did we treat you like a loser or just another team doing a demo? If the previous one, the power run is good, right? We are winning. Of course, we're not presenting here. We present the trail only, right? You know more, I will show you the whole demonstration long way through in the coming months time. I could make it, right? It's just another team to demo. So why, right? Why waste the time to do demonstration again, right? We need no more demonstration of the same thing, which is not the same, or even worse than one presented before. Right? So last but not least, we need to make sure that we luck, right? And thumbs up. Right? So I give you this structure of presenting, the hint on how you on stage, the preparing, right? So that comes to the end of my sharing. I hope you can learn something out of it. Of course, the PowerPoint can share with you later on through this one, right? So once again, thank you. If you have any question to ask me, or you can contact me through the WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Facebook, and yeah, until here, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Teddy. May I know if there's any questions on the floor? If you have questions, please feel free to type.
No problem, or if you have questions, just ask, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Sharon. All right. Good, thank you.
Very clear.
So if I share the PowerPoint, you can just follow it, right? Very simple. Make sure that the audience is along with your flow. Along with your flow that you actually hook them from the very beginning. Let them flow through you have done, why you're doing it, how they see the benefit of it, and then make sure that you plant the question along the line. So that they want to ask you, just reinforce what they think. It should be like that. Can I reconfirm that? That's the question you planted in their brain. And by answering the question tactfully, precisely, impactfully, you win the case. Because after all, they're the fish that you caught already with your net posted.
Yeah, when they're also pitching, they should be aware of the judging criteria as well.
Exactly. So with the criteria, I will put a lot of trap there. So let you think that it seems to be that you are missing something. No, not really. I did not present because I want you to ask me to pitch you a more impactful point. Make sure that I do realize that you answered me already. It's my fault rather than your ability.
Strongly agree on that.
Sure. I always teach people to make use of the Q&A section because you have to make use of the 4 minutes. It seems to be a challenge. In fact, it's a winning game, to make sure that you have all the people eyes on you. No more PowerPoint, just you as the focus. Sometimes students or people will flip along the way. I want to show you, something that I have answered that. The slide, page 3, page 5, it's a waste of time going back to the slide, right? If you flip the slide, means that you still have to really prove by showing people that you've written on something. You don't have the thing in your mind. You're wasting your time flip through it, but rather go straight to the answer, right? And in our presentation, I told you that we have saved 30% or something directly to the bottom because the PowerPoint is that you made, right? You should remember adding in the PowerPoint, right? Well, I'm not sure. I can be if I'm needed. I'm doing mentoring. That's why, okay. So if you need me, I will be happy to be your mentor.
Yes,
right? Any other questions?
Mentor.
Yes, I'm doing mentoring as my own social venture. In fact, I'm a mentor by for a lot of students, some startups, and a lot of organizations, including NGOs. I always pitch them, how they should be better, and I will teach them how they turn themselves better, and more importantly, what they are doing, what they are heading towards, right? The insight, the foresight, is more important than what you are. What you're doing right now. With a good purpose, a good direction, and a good heart, right? I think it will fall into your side and let you, drive the thing together because you are the driver. You are leader to put on the pieces into one big picture, right? The piece is a puzzle. We go along the way. If you have good heart, good direction, the puzzle will come along your side, and you got all the resources for you. I'm sure. So in that case, if you need me to be a mentor, I'm much happy to be your mentor.
Thank you, Teddy. Teddy is actually a very experienced speaker and also on the tutoring. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask him later on. Right now, we don't see any questions. So shall we move on?
Shirley, yes, please.
Thank you, Teddy, again. It's
Okay.
very informative.
My pleasure.
So right now, we would like to take this moment to thank you, our co-organizers, Cyberport and Hong Kong Science Park, as well as the government funding organization, Digital Policy Office, for their support. Meanwhile, we also like to extend our gratitude to all our sponsors, technology partners, media partners, and supporting organizations. If you have any questions on today's workshop or challenge statements, please feel free to contact us and we'll forward them to the speakers and corporations as well. So as a follow-up, video recording of today's section will be shared with all the participants through email. I saw there are two questions. Two people saying about the recording. Yes, we will be sending recordings of workshop 1 and today's workshop tomorrow. And the Zoom link of workshop 3 will be included in the same email as well. So no worries. Before we conclude, we would like to ask for your feedback. Please scan the QR code on the screen to complete a brief evaluation survey that could help us improve our future workshops or invite kind of speakers that will be, more suitable for your needs. So yeah, we would like to also announce our next workshop, which will be held on Thursday, 22nd January 2026, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. The theme will be empowering innovation from AI foundations to agentic AI development. So if you haven't registered, please be sure to register to secure your spot. I think this brings us to the end of today's workshop. Thank you so much for your active participation. We look forward to seeing you this Thursday. Goodbye.